Hi guys, it's Tara with Gaia Tarot 13, and I was called to make a video on duality. Let's, start with what duality is. Duality is the concept that there needs to be an opposite of something. You've got light and dark, good and bad, right and wrong, and so forth. So, it occurred to me that duality, my perception, is a social construct. Now, I know right off the bat you might not just agree with that, because how can duality be a social construct if it's just a given? There has to be an opposite, right? That's the logic, that's what we're taught, is that there has to be an opposite. But what if there doesn't? Think about that for a minute. Don't just automatically dismiss it. Well, Tara, we can't have good and not bad. Well, why not? Why can't everyone just do good? And if everyone does good, are we innately going to automatically decide which of those goods are the lesser good and then label that bad? And if that's the case, how does that not make it a factor of society? How does that not show that duality simply exists because we make it exist? People, parents generally, but people want their kids or the people that they love to not be hurt, right? So you think of a parent with their baby and they want to cuddle them or helicopter parent them or whatever. I want to keep them innocent. I want to keep them protected from the evils of the world, right? What if those evils didn't exist to that child until you told them that they did? What if someone having what we'd normally see as something bad, right? So, a broken heart. All right, you're in a relationship and someone breaks up with you and you have a broken heart and you're hurt from it, right? And that's seen as negative. What if you're never taught that that's negative? What if you just know that it is and you just accept it as something else that happens in life to grow from? It is bad or negative or hurtful or whatever because people tell you it is. I heard something recently. I heard something relatively recently that kind of got me on all this. It was, if someone lived on the sun, then they would never know dark. And get out of semantics and get out of like, who could live on the sun, Tara? Like, understand conceptually what I'm talking about. If the only thing you know is light, there doesn't have to be dark. Dark is only there because someone tells you it's there. Because someone tells you that you're supposed to perceive something negatively. Everything in this life is neutral. Everything in this life is a learning experience. And your entire life is only lived through your own perception, through your own 3D experience, and what you've had in your past dictates how you interpret things. Your personal life experience dictates how you interpret things, and it is how you interpret things that shows what sort of a life you're going to experience into the future. So if you have a really negative childhood, you could perceive, as a lot of people do, that everyone is out to get you and that everything that happens is negative and you need to fight and overcome and scrape for everything that you have. And a lot of people do that. A lot of people who have negative um, childhoods or childhood trauma or problems in their past do get a combative outlook on life. Conversely, because we're talking about duality, the opposite side of that spectrum would be those who are born well to do, who have everything they want handed to them, and who have never had to work for anything and just have a lot of ease in their life that other people don't have. Now, I know everyone goes through their own stuff. So I'm not saying that some people have everything hard and some people have everything easy. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just making an example. So these people who have had the well-to-do relationships or well-to-do family background or having things handed to them, they could think, well, I hear in the media or I hear wherever that people have a hard time trying to make ends meet or can't live off X amount of dollars an hour, just whatever. And they can't wrap their head around how that's a thing because they've never had to experience that. So, with them not being able to understand, it's their perception that life doesn't work that way, that they're just not working hard enough. They could have what I have if they worked hard enough. I know that's a whole other video. But I use these to illustrate that the perception in life is based on what you have experienced. You can say life is easy because you've had it pretty easy. You can say everything in life is hard because you've had everything in life hard. But you don't have to do that either. There's, of course, a middle ground there where the people who have had it hard say, I've had it hard, but I can change that. It's under my control to change that. And then they do. They grow up to be doctors and lawyers. You have people who have had easy times that say, yes, I know how fortunate I am. I know that not everyone gets things handed to them. And so because of that, I'm going to help others, or I'm going to give back, or I'm going to at least empathize with the situation that other people are going through. Okay? So where are you going with all this, Tara? If your perception dictates your reality, and you're never told that there is negativity, you're never told that there is an opposite, can you put those into compartments? Maybe it's not better or worse living in one of those two ways, like one of these two people. Maybe it's not better or worse to have any upbringing. It just is what it is. And maybe if society didn't tell us that having a hard childhood is bad or having an easy childhood is good, we wouldn't think that there is an opposite. We wouldn't think that that duality or that dichotomy exists. So if I've got you to at least successfully consider that maybe life isn't dualistic. So Tara, so what? So what's it matter? How's this going to change my day-to-day life when I need to, live my routine? Get up and go to work every day and come home and do housework, and then go to bed, do the same thing every day. How does thinking about this practically change anything? Well, on its own, it won't. I mean, you can encounter a million things in your day-to-day life. That's not going to change anything unless you apply it to your life. But if you get to thinking about this and you can see this lack of duality in this manner, or you can see that duality is something imposed by society, you can start to rid it from your life. And I know the next question would be, well, why? For what purpose? Because duality is what causes negative behavior. I'm right, he's wrong. I'm doing this for this reason, and therefore I'm right. Or therefore that other person is my enemy. And when we have this duality, it enables us to label people and to essentially feed our egos. It's really, when you get right down to it, that's what it is. It's feeding our egos. It's okay that I do this because I'm the one who's right. Maybe they're right too. Maybe you both have equally valid points of view, and maybe one person doesn't have to be right. Your ego wants you to be right. Your ego wants you to make the other person look bad, downplay their opinions, downplay their life experience, downplay what they say, so you can be right and your ego can feel better, which is not good in any way. Like, there's no reason to just feed into your ego, because if you feel good about yourself on a soul level, then you don't need to. You don't need to feed your ego. You don't need to play into that. And you don't need to have judgment of others, or there's a word here that's just not coming to me, like making others negative, making others the target. You won't need to do that. There are a plethora of things going on in the world now and recently and in the past that people do in the name of all sorts of names of being right. For religion, of course, and for a bunch of other things. There's no need to do ill upon other people, demonize. That's the word I was looking for. Demonize other people entirely for the sake of your ego. But it's there because of duality. It's there because I'm right and he's wrong. Things are black and white, right and wrong, left and right, black and white, good and bad. It just isn't that way. It just isn't that way. And if we as a society stop seeing things that way, we can help others not see things that way and try to rid the world of this dualistic perception, because it's unnecessary and it only harms us as a people. Its sole purpose is to feed our negative ego, and the purpose of that is to make us feel better. Oh, I'm smarter than her, or I have a a nicer car than her, or, and I'm using female because I'm female, whatever, I'm a feminist, I'm unabashedly, by the way. So I'm just gonna, I don't hate on other women, I'm just using it as a gender because I'm female. Regardless, I threw myself off track there. So it just seems like it does us more bad than good to try and perpetuate this white and black thing, this dualistic thinking. It does us no good. It does us no good. And we need to rid ourselves of it as a society. And the only way that I can see to rid it from our mindset is to stop doing it ourselves. Individually, it starts with you. Stop seeing things in this dualistic perception. Help others see that there isn't right or wrong. There's just a billion, lots of billions of people on this planet, meaning that there are billions and billions of interpretations based on individual perception, and that not one is better than the other. Once we have that, we can start to value everyone equally. It would make just leaps forward in acknowledging where other people come from and in valuing everyone as equal human beings. Because by demonizing people, we dehumanize them. And we use it as an excuse to do all sorts of crazy shit. And it's unnecessary, and it can be stopped once we start to see that duality only exists because we, as a society, perpetuate it. So something to think about. Thanks for listening.